un nuevo programa del mundo. Tenemos con nosotros, como de costumbre, al doctor Michael Leitman.
Hello, and welcome to a new show about the world. With us, we have Dr. Michael Leitman, with whom we will discuss the meaning of life. And we will begin immediately. Dr. Leitman, the world is constantly changing. In the past, there was much tourism. We used to go shopping. We went to restaurants. That gave us some meaning, some purpose to our existence. But all that changed. If so, how will all this fulfillment be replaced in the new world, in the world of today?
Sorry.
We can't hear you. Audio? Leitman. This is similar to children growing up. For a while, they're taking out for walks, to kindergarten, carousels and amusement parks and whatnot, picnics, everything. But later they have to go study, and this takes a long time, and they need to start working, to go into business. Life isn't kindergarten, although we had it good in kindergarten, but we grow. We're no longer fit for that. Two of us can now go into a kindergarten and be there like a little child. The thing is that humanity is now going through a very special phase of, coming into adulthood, and that happens to the men, to the women, even to the children. And we have to understand, it's very rough, and we have to understand that we need to relate to life differently. I remember myself being spoiled rotten by my mother and father. They gave me everything, and I would get everything. And suddenly they started pressuring me, and I didn't exactly understand what's going on. I had to study and establish myself. Everything now depended on me. They didn't supply to me everything I wanted. I needed to be successful at something, good at something. So make sure that I'm good at something. Why do I need to make sure? Why do I need to work on it? I remember this being a very serious question, a difficult question for me to answer until I understood that life, let's say, is divided into two halves, let's say. I was a child in one half, my mother and father took care of everything, and the other half is such where I'm no longer a child and I have to take care of myself. And my father and mother, with everything they have to give me and all their good, kind hearts, they cannot do it for me. I have to put my own work in, to spend my own energy and to do things, and that's how it happened. And that's what's happening to us in life now. Humanity was spoiled, if you could say that. But now it needs to come to a state where it grows up. And this process of growing up, coming into adulthood, is not such where we open up more businesses as we did in the 20th century, mostly, and tourism around the world, sitting in pubs and restaurants and making a life of that. No, we are done with that era. And from now on, nature is demanding of us to be mature, to be adults, and by that means to know why I am alive, what's the purpose of life, the meaning of life. I can no longer remain as a child. I need to open my eyes and to see that there's a very serious life ahead of me, which require me to take them seriously, and I need to create myself, and with others I need to create a new world. And this world is here, right in front of us, but we, humanity, don't want to see it. It's as if we're in kindergarten still. Noma. In the new world, if so, what will fulfill us? if not for the materialistic aspect, Lightman. Only the attainment of the purpose and meaning of life, the meaning of life, where as a child, as a baby, as a child, I'm only playing with what I'm playing with, toys, balls. I run after other children and they run after me, and we play in our court, in our sandbox. We build something, we break something. We also play at war between us, all sorts of games, and suddenly comes an age where we need to understand the meaning of life and to relate to life more seriously. Noma. In Hebrew, there is an expression called Lasot Chaim, making a life, or enjoying yourself. So, Lightman, yes, this is truly making a life. It's what we made. We didn't live. We made a life. Right? We weren't alive. We made for ourselves a life. We made for ourselves a false world. A false world. And we played at it inside this bubble that we built. Had we looked down on Earth from space, from outside, we would be thinking, what are they doing? They're doing this, those people are doing that. What are they doing? What are they doing it for? What's the benefit from it? And we couldn't understand. Yes. Noma. If so, in this new reality, how should a person make a life, as we say, or live his life? Lightman, we need to learn as we ourselves learned. I remember when I began to look at life differently. And this wasn't good because I wanted to continue playing. So, meaning that I make my life and someone else takes care of me. My mother and father, they take care of me, but that doesn't happen anymore. They don't agree to do it anymore. They can't. They understand that I'm no longer a child, and they leave me as if they strip me of their attention, their concern. They can help from a distance to some extent, but each time less and less and less. And I must grow up. Noma. If so, what we must do is to reshape our life. Lightman. Yes, I have to understand first what's the proper form of life, what's the right way, stopping all these games we play together and all these imaginary dealings, and to begin to build up a life which is a life of meaning from the perspective of nature. Here we need to open up nature and understand what's happening to us and what we need to do in order to be mature adults, according to the plan already rooted in nature, which up to this day we haven't even touched. Noma. In every language there's an expression similar to making a life, living life to the max. From the perspective of the wisdom of Kabbalah, what does it mean to live life to the max? Lightman, living life, that means that we understand life, that we feel life, that we attain the meaning of life, the purpose of life, and thus we are tasting the flavor of life in a way in which we in this world, we are living here in this world, right? Not dead, living, and living with an upper meaning, with a cosmic meaning which spreads across the whole universe, all of nature. That's the meaning of knowing what we live for. According to what we see from life, from our life, each and everything has some meaning to it, has a purpose for which it exists. It's just that we cannot discover the meaning for our actual lives, and that's our work. Our problem, the exercise that nature put to us, is to discover the point of life, the meaning of life, the essence of it and to begin to act upon that. Noma. Life took a 180-degree turn. There's a massive wave of, there's pandemics like the COVID-19 and other plagues and economic instability and so on. So the question is, how did life change in our time, in our era? Lightman, especially thanks to this virus, the COVID-19, we will learn how to look at life correctly, how to view life correctly. We won't be running around from morning to night doing all sorts of business. We won't be immersed in our weaknesses, meaning thoughts of how to fulfill our egos, our lusts and desires with all kinds of fulfillment. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that at all, but it should be there with the measure to which we attain the meaning of life. That should be the main goal for us. And so we should relate to life in a way where, first, we discover the purpose of life. Noma, there's much negativity from various sides now, in various aspects. So how can we convert this negative perspective on life to a positive one? Lightman, I think the perspective that we now have is very positive. It's very inviting, very attractive if a person understands what nature is preparing for him. And to the contrary, if we do not agree with nature, we will suffer. And nature will teach us, in any case, how to relate to life correctly. We have grown up and we're entering a new era now, adult life. We're now big, we're adults. Noma. Feeling fearing what may happen, is that possibly a positive thing because it pushes us to change? And if so, what should be the perspective we should adopt with respect to our reality today? Lightman, I don't think we should be afraid. We should simply understand that in front of us it's like a child becoming an adult, needing to acquire some trade. He needs to build his life as a man. Gever in Hebrew, from the word hitgabrut, meaning overcoming. He needs to overcome all of his problems, his troubles, and he needs to establish himself. He needs to get married. He needs to build a home. He needs to bring children to the world. He needs to provide them everything they require to build up his life. That's the way in which we should relate to this new stage of life, right? The main thing is not to grow rich, to go into all sorts of business, to fly around. No, I'm not saying that this shouldn't exist. It should also be there, but our main goal has to be such that we want to know why we're doing all this. That's what we're looking towards. We need to build a proper meaning for life, purpose for life, a new humanity. We need to build ourselves up on earth in a way which is not as before, where we just played at competitions like children, but rather we need to take our lives seriously. Our lives we will see as an entry, a pathway into a new life, an eternal spiritual life full of meaning. Noma. So we've reached adulthood and now we need an adult humanity. Is that the summary? Lightman. That's what the coronavirus demands of us, and so this is how we need to look at it. It's an invitation to become more serious with respect to our attitude towards life. Noma. So, what is the meaning of life today? Lightman. The meaning of life today is to make a life, to enjoy life. Tomorrow, let's hope that we open up a new meaning for life, which is to make our lives eternal. Eternal. And that's what nature demands of us, and that's what we shall do. Noma, thank you very much, Dr. Lightman. You're all welcome to accompany us right into the next program.